So now we look ahead to the big one. And Jared, I was planning on previewing this with you, with South Carolina having revenge on their mind, which they still do, but I thought South Carolina was going to go in as number 3. Texas was going to come in as undefeated number 2, maybe the favorite in the SEC, quote unquote. But the LSU Tigers, hey, they have flipped the script a little bit on us today, because LSU, they played Texas today at the PMAC down in Baton Rouge, and LSU beat Texas 70-65 to hand Texas their first loss of the season. So Thursday's game looks a bit different here in Columbia. Texas is going to come in with their first loss of the season, trying not to lose 2 in a row. South Carolina is still going to try and get revenge, but when you look at the SEC standings and the SEC implications that today's result has, South Carolina has an opportunity to really step ahead of LSU and Texas in the bigger picture of the conference standings. So this is a huge opportunity for South Carolina, not just to get a big win at home. We know how big the game is, but just when you look at the postseason, when you look at the seeding for the SEC tournament, all of that, LSU, they said, all right, don't forget about us. And also, they changed how Thursday's game looks now here in Columbia.
Yeah, LSU playing a little bit of a spoiler to the hype of this game.
Big win for them.
Yeah, big win. I mean, all props to them. But it's as Don Staley said, we know the implications of this game, not just for this week, but for the future implications, because this could be another season where we see South Carolina and Texas play 4 times.
Yeah.
But obviously, the seeding and the path to getting there, it's important, to not get beat up on your way there. So it's still a huge game.
Huge.
But yeah, now it kind of, I have a different perspective going into it today, especially how Texas lost. I mean, we watched Rory Harmon not play that fourth quarter when she was the killer against South Carolina. So now I have no idea what to expect for Thursday.
Yeah. At the time of this podcast recording, we don't know why Vic Schaefer benched Rory Harmon, but of course, if she plays that fourth quarter, maybe the result of that game is different. That's a coaching decision that I don't know, when you go into this game, do you kind of ignore that? Do you say, okay, if Rory's going to play the full 10 minutes in the fourth quarter, that changes the game here on Thursday. So it's just interesting. The vibes now for this game are a bit different. And, I don't know, again, at the time of this podcast recording, what the rankings are going to be. But I think we all thought going into it that South Carolina was going to go in as the lower-ranked team.
Right.
Now, potentially, and by the time a lot of you guys watch this or listen to it, South Carolina, I'm going to assume is going to move up to number 2.
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure, but I'm assuming that they are going to be the higher-ranked team on Thursday, despite their only loss coming to Texas. It's been a crazy season of women's basketball where everybody's kind of beating everybody, and I don't think that's going to stop. I think we're going to see that continue for the next couple of months. But I don't know. What do you think is going to be the key to this game for South Carolina against Texas?
I mean, Don Staley said it. You can't beat Texas scoring 65 points. I don't know if I necessarily agree there.
Same.
I think they can. I think she probably doesn't want to score only 65 points, but they're going to have to defend like they did. They broke out the zone a little bit today.
Which I can't believe I've seen a Don Staley team play zone defense this season. I don't know if I've ever seen them play zone defense in my 10 years, but they have broken it out, and they're actually doing it really well, Jared.
They were, and I was wondering if that's a little bit, a prep for Texas. Okay, we're planning on using this Thursday. Let's see how it works today. So I think if they defend like they did today, and the question mark around whether Rory or not will play a fourth quarter, those things go in their favor, but I don't know. There's so much confusion now.
So much confusion, but I do think, and this is what Agat McKeer and Tanaya Latson after the game were saying, is that against Texas especially, defense is going to be the key to the game, because Texas, no matter what they produce offensively, always brings elite defense.
Yeah.
Vic Schaefer coaches it so well. They execute it so well. They are always one of the best defensive teams in the country. Same can be said for South Carolina, and when they're going at it both defensively, that is really what it comes down to. And the Gamecocks already seem ready for that defensive battle, and they said no matter what happens on Thursday, whether they're shooting well or not, the defense and the rebounding are going to be the key, because Texas is another team that historically typically rebounds the ball very, very well. So I'm expecting a dogfight on Thursday, and I don't know what to expect, because I was telling you when that LSU Texas game was being played, what does South Carolina want in this result? Do they want Texas to come to Columbia with their first loss of the season, maybe a bit angry, learning from what they're not doing well? Do they want Texas to win and be undefeated so they can be the one to knock them off? Do they want LSU to beat Texas because of the SEC standings and what it means for the postseason, even though we're only in January, so a lot to happen? I was like, I don't know if you guys want to chime in on that. What would you have rather have happened in that LSU-Texas game? Because you kind of see both sides of it. So I don't know what the Gamecocks are feeling. I don't know if they're like, okay, this is a little bit of a change, something we weren't expecting going into the week. But the dynamics are very different, and I'm just fascinated because I'm going to be honest. I didn't expect Texas to lose that game today, especially with the way LSU looked against Vandy and Kentucky. I thought Texas was going to win by 5 to 10 points, but LSU played really, really well. And you have to know, with the Kim Mulkey team, they're a team that's going to get better as the season goes on, and they're going to be in the mix as they always are. It's just the SEC is fascinating this season to me, Jared, because Kentucky's losing, Vandy's undefeated. It's just like there are so many storylines, and this one on Thursday is going to be a big one. Should we do predictions? Should we do? I don't know. We haven't officially, previewed the game with Dawn Staley. We got a little bit of quotes today from her and the players, but should we give predictions and what we think is going to happen? Because it changes the way I look at this game on Thursday.
Let's do predictions.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You want to go first? Me?
I'll go first.
Okay, go first.
I do think after seeing what I've seen recently from both teams, I do think this will be the get-back game for South Carolina. You're here in the Colonial Life Arena. We know the history between Dawn Staley and Vic Schaefer. It very heavily favors Dawn. Yeah. And just some of the things that Dawn Staley spoke about after they lost to Texas, with Isla, for example, saying she was nervous against Texas. You have a lot of new pieces in a busy week for them that was. I think both teams were dealing with that, but it skewed it away from their favor. I think now there's a lot going in the momentum of South Carolina and away from Texas. So I think it'll be a close game, but I can see South Carolina with a very close 4 or 5 point win.
All right, so you're going Gamecocks. I think what's fascinating about this game, first of all, I expect this place to be sold out on Thursday. I think it's arguably the biggest home game for South Carolina this season. UConn's not coming, and LSU's not coming this year. So I would argue that this is the biggest home game. I expect the fans to play a massive role in this game on Thursday. Last year when Texas came, South Carolina won by 17, and the atmosphere was incredible that day. I think, too, when you look back at that game in Vegas, first of all, it was the first month of the season. The South Carolina team was still trying to get to know each other. Texas has a lot of experience coming back, and they do have new additions as well, but the core of their team is still very much there with Rory Harmon and Madison Booker and Kyla Oldacre. And South Carolina was up by 11 in the third quarter of that game in Vegas. And then at the end, they had free throws that would have won them the game. So you can look at it a bunch of ways. You can say Texas played well and they came up with the goods in the clutch, which they did. But you can also look at it as South Carolina maybe blew it a little bit and maybe let that game slip. And I think for me, Jared, I'm still kind of waiting for this Gamecock team to have that win.
Yes.
The statement win of the season. They've got some really good wins this season. They always do. They're beating teams by 25, 30 points. But they don't have, that signature win, the one that you say, okay, that's the one that this team needed to kind of, take it to the next level, get ready for March or whatever you want to say. I think usually maybe we have it by now, but South Carolina, and they have really good wins this season. They are a really good team, but I think they want that statement top 5, top 4 win against another powerhouse program. I'm also going to pick South Carolina, and the home advantage is a big reason why. I think it's just a huge advantage. I think this is the best home advantage in all of women's basketball, arguably all of college basketball in general. I think this place is going to be loud. I think it's going to be electric. And I think the fans, they know their stuff. They're going to be chomping at the bit. They know what's going to be at stake on Thursday. And I think that energy is going to propel South Carolina. And I think maybe it's good that they didn't play that great today. I think maybe if they played really well today, maybe they come out flat on Thursday. I don't know. Just however you want to look at it. But I'm going to go with South Carolina as well. I think it's going to be a defensive, just dogfight. And I expect Texas to be mad. I expect them to be pissed that they lost to LSU. I expect them to be cleaner on Thursday. But LSU, South Carolina back-to-back is also a really tough part of the schedule for Texas.
It is. So
there are so many storylines. It's fascinating. And also, I got to say, it's one of those games, too. I don't think I'll be shocked at any result. So if you guys are picking Texas, that is completely valid based off of how the season has gone and the fact that they already beat South Carolina once. But they've also played each other a million times in the past year. So who knows what's going to happen this time. But Jared's going South Carolina. I'm going to go South Carolina as well. I think it's going to be very, very close. I expect it to come down to the wire in the fourth quarter. And I think it's going to be cinema, as the kids say. Cinema here at the CLA. But let us know your predictions and thoughts if you're watching us on YouTube and in the comments, because I love knowing what the fans are thinking. You guys are so knowledgeable with basketball, and I want to know.
This
they're
really is
so
one of the most knowledgeable fan bases.
So
They really
knowledgeable.
are.
Yeah, I mean, they gave a standing ovation at the end of the game today. They were like, all right, not the best, but good defense. Like,
Yeah.
you could feel the energy. It was like,
Yeah.
all right, got the win, got the dub. But you guys always are keeping up with stat lines throughout the game. Let us know what you guys think is going to be the difference in this game on Thursday between South Carolina and Texas, and which way you think it's going to go. Because, again, I don't think a lot of us thought Texas was going to come in here with a loss, and that does change the way things look. Tip-off here on Thursday night at the CLA. I cannot wait. It's going to be a movie, and I can't wait for the energy.